History suggests New South Wales trained horses perform well in Western Australian Interdominions, and 2004 was no different. The Darren Hancock trained and driven Jofess proved too strong for the local champion, the Falcon Strike, in what was the closest finish in Interdominion history. The success in WA was no fluke. It was planned well before nominations for the series closed. Hancock decided to head west early in an attempt to have his horse ready for the Rich Series, as Darren explained.
Yeah, well, I just knew the weather would be hot, and I knew you had to have the 3 runs in the week. And I thought, well, we had nothing else left here for him, so I said, well, might as well get him over there early, you know. And we were there a month before even they started, you know, so it was really good. And then he acclimatised into it, and we stayed at a little place at Wanneroo, Kenny White's place up the coast, and he just had a nice little 5 acres, little sand track, no flash track, no nothing, nice couple of paddocks, air-conditioned boxes. It just worked out good, and he just loved it, the horse.
After arriving in Perth soon after competing in South Australia's Summer Carnival, Jofess lined up in the Australian Pacing Championships and finished second behind the Falcon Strike.
Jofess chimes in 3 wide, 4 deep the Falcon Strike. He's starting to warm to his task now. And then Valiant Soldier right off the course, flashing red. And then the Hard Bull Get coming to the turn. Jofess had reached the lead, joined by the Falcon Strike. It's the Falcon Strike and Jofess coming together. The champion has reached the lead. He's reigning supreme again. The Falcon Strike drawing away. It's another extraordinary Grand Circuit win.
The next week he lined up in the $200,000 WA Pacing Cup and again found the locals too strong, with the Falcon Strike and Baltic Eagle quinelling the event.
The Falcon Strike lengthening stride, a half length away. Baltic Eagle refuses to give in. 2 lengths on Tricky Vic, and then Jofess, Meggie Deer, and the Hard Bull Get coming to the turn. Whips her out on the leaders. The Falcon Strike a length, Baltic Eagle, 3 away Tricky Vic, and then Jofess. The Falcon Strike in front though. Oh mighty steed, how brave are you? 4 straight big races, 3 straight Grand Circuits. It's his second WA Pacing Cup. He beats Baltic Eagle gallant in defeat. They streeted the rest. Tricky Vic ran 3rd. Jofess ran 4th.
With 6 weeks until the start of the Interdominion, Hancock didn't panic and left Jofess in the capable hands of his dad, Richard.
He done all the work with the horse. I fast worked him the last day in that week of the heats, but he done everything with the horse. And you know, you can't get a better horseman than him looking after a horse, so I was pretty blessed.
On night 1 of the Interdominion series, Jofess drew wide in his heat, and with local faking it finding the death seat, Hancock was forced to drive for luck, but 5th placing was all he could manage.
At the 600, it'll give a bit of cheek now. It leads a neck on Faking It, who's given full bore and goes up to eyeball the leader. A length and a half to Fox O'Shaughnessy. Prentice still sitting quietly on Double Identity. Jofess waits for him to go. And then Blue Galleon, the die is cast to Canorama coming wide. And he's back towards the tail of the field with Mont Denver Gold. That quarter in 30.1. And Light Red headed by Faking It coming to the home turn. A length away then to Fox O'Shaughnessy. Double Identity taken to the outside. He needs to get a wriggle on. Faking It had raced to the lead. Now Double Identity. Fox O'Shaughnessy runs on. Faking It under the whip, but he's clear. First blood to WA, and it's not the Falcon Strike, it's Faking It.
A more favourable draw on night 2 was the important factor which saw Jofess emerge as a serious Interdominion threat. The strong gelding worked his way to the front over the middle trip and produced a track record performance as he smashed the old mark set by Miracle Mile winner Norm's Daughter. The beauty of the Interdominion series saw Jofess need to finish inside the top 6 in the final heat to qualify for the final, but trouble at the start meant Hancock needed to produce some magic in the sulky to scramble in.
Yeah, I did actually, because they didn't know the horse, and I said, go back through his form. He's never broken his life. He hadn't, you know, he's just a great horse, you know, and they looked at me and I was in and out the room and I just kept going, he's never broke, I'm telling you. He's just, I was nearly going to bar him or put him outside, and they ended up just giving me the benefit of the doubt, and we went from there, and it worked out good, you know.
In the lead up to the final, debate raged about which horse would lead the Interdominion field. Despite drawing barrier 1, Jofess had blown in the market, with only a few scenarios having Jofess retaining the lead.
Yeah, they sort of all had me getting crossed, so that's why he probably started the price he did. They all thought he'd just get crossed at the gate. But Joe was probably, he could muster speed, like he'd hold his own when you really asked him, and used to put the shortness in a little bit just to make him so you could hunt him, you know. And it was sort of Anthony Butt's horse, Mr. DG. He was outside me, and when we got to the first corner, you know, Gloucester Park's pretty tight till the first corner. They go quick, and the outside horses were getting across, and then Anthony Butt's horse just sort of shepherded me enough so I could kick up inside. And that was the race then. Once he led, I knew he was a good horse in front.
In front, Jofess about a neck on the Falcon Strike. He's digging deep. A half length away, Sokiola trying hard to claim them both. And then Natch Nifty, Mr. DG coming 4 wide now, and a gap to Double Identity, that quarter in 28 even. Around the turn now it gets real. Jofess just the leader. The crowd roared as the Falcon Strike tried to get on terms. What about Sokiola, Mr. DG? It's Jofess in front. They're claiming him. I don't know. The Falcon Strike maybe, or Jofess. Oh, I'm just not sure.
Yeah, I thought I won, but I weren't game to put my hand up. It would have been a bit embarrassing. I jogged a lap, and all the crowd, I'm thinking, oh, and the horse, the good horse, Falcon Strike, he was a crowd favourite, so they all thought he won. The commentator called him the winner, so I was just quiet. I just went around, jogged around, and then in the straight they're going number 1, so that was good.
Hancock became the second member of his family to win an Inter-Dominion, joining his uncle, Mr. Inter-Dominion Brian, as the winner of harness racing's Holy Grail.
Yeah, it probably was. I mean, you always look for, Inter-Dominions are the biggest thing in the sport, and when you win Inter-Dominion, it's great. I won a lot of premierships and things like that, Errol Park, but I think that was, I think that was the highlight, yeah.